So flying here was definitely not the plan today. I was actually hoping, really hoping actually, to go out to the desert and fly a really epic spot I know of out in the desert, but I kind of messed up the timing. So since it's pretty far away to get out there, it's like you need to leave an hour early in order to end up with enough light, etc. by the time you get there. So I kind of messed that up and thought that, you know, given the amount of complexity versus, you know, the amount of flying time I would get out of it, I aborted that and came to this spot instead. Which kind of sucks because I really wanted to go to that other spot, but here I am in another spot, which I have flown before, quite a bit actually, but I came here and just to change it up a bit so the day is not completely boring, I decided to swap up my angle a bit. So I'm going to fly another portion of this spot that I haven't flown before really. Basically, I think the best idea to attack a spot and really fly well is to earn it by putting in packs and building up progressively. Like start out, you know, smooth and conservative and stuff, granny fly it or whatever. Really learn the spot. Every spot's got its little ins and outs and all that kind of stuff. Basically anything besides showing up at a spot and trying to just torpedo the nuts off it from the first pack onwards. I think if you do that, I mean, maybe you'll get away with it, but you probably won't. Because, well, depending on the spot anyways. It's like if you show up and you just go all banzai on a spot, the chances you're going to crash are higher. And you may not learn the spot as well either, because you're just like running in and going, rah, ninja, and bang, crash, rah, ninja, crash, and repeat. So you're just crashing your quad, spending time putting new props on it and whatnot, new packs, without really getting clean packs in and learning the little ins and outs of the spot and how it feels to fly through and the layout, right? You want to get some basic lines down and stuff. Also, I find that when I'm sort of granny flying spots, it's like I discover all these obstacles for one. Like for example, in this spot here, I discovered that the bottoms of this little staircase are roped off, so there's little ropes there and stuff like that. Maybe there's little, you know, things here and there that you won't see if you're blasting through at high speed, just trying to do the biggest power loop around the, or hit the craziest gap straight up. There's all these little details, man. Like, and I think it's important to notice those little details, either to avoid them or to take advantage of them to do cool stuff around them and whatnot. Really got to get that sense of the spot built up, I think, in your head, however you do it, whether it's flying multiple packs, granny flying, just looking around, not doing any tricks, or if you want to just warm up your fingers and stuff, whatever, right? But the best way to do it, I think, is gradually. Don't just go in and torpedo the thing, you're gonna have a bad day. I do that sometimes myself. I just go in too aggressive, start crashing, and then you're running out of light and time, maybe you break a quad, and it kind of sucks. The most fun I have is when I work up, because I'm flying more, I'm running packs through the quad, so I'm enjoying flying every time I go out. I'm crashing less because I'm not taking as many risks as soon, and I'm just enjoying the view, really, you know, like I'm learning the spot in my head. That's part of the fun, right? Is not just like trying to capture the video, but the sense of actually, you know, floating around the spot and looking around it and checking it out and seeing it and getting that sense that you're there. That's another benefit. Cumulatively, over successive packs, yeah, I'll start sort of upping the ante or flowing with some lines and all that. It depends what I want to do. I'm more of a flow guy. I just like to sort of surf spots or skate spots aerially, if that makes sense. That's kind of my thing. I just love doing that. I love riding spots. Yeah, maybe other guys are gonna, you know, build up to some epic trick in a specific area. Whatever floats your boat, right? But I do think that it's best to do it gradually for your benefit as a pilot and not wrecking your gear and having fun and improving your flying and getting best view and everything, but also for the optics thing. So if, like in a spot like here where there's security guards and stuff like that, they kick me out half the time, right? But the other time they don't kick me out, they're like giving me a bit of a, I'm not saying they're letting me fly, but they're not kicking me out. Basically, if there's people around though, members of the public, you know, private security, whatever, the last thing they want to see is some dude like blazing in with this noisy little thing and just going wah bah bah bang and crashing into their stuff. You know, their job's to like protect the building. Members of the public just don't want to feel threatened. So you could adopt an attitude of, I don't care, I'm an FPV pirate and I'll do what I want. And yeah, I get that, right? But I think you got to balance that with like, look, if your objective is to enjoy flying, I think it's just good to take everything into consideration. That means not only your stuff, but your environment and the people in the environment. Quite often, if you demonstrate that you can fly competently, it puts other people around you at ease. It makes them feel a little more trusting, like, hey, maybe this guy's not an idiot who's gonna break a bunch of stuff, or oh, I understand what this person's doing. All these little things add up, man. Oh, I can see they're gonna come now. Probably gonna have an interaction here. Let's see how it goes. My throat. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get kicked out. Alright, so they didn't come over, but I do see one dude walking over there. So I don't know if this means they're gonna like give me a slide today, or if they're gonna kick me out or whatever. Yeah, I'm just gonna chill out here and see what happens. You know, if someone like security dudes come up, I always treat them with respect. I answer their questions. I try and sell them on what we're doing, actually, how cool it is. I give them ride-alongs, all that stuff, man. And hey, if they don't want me here, that's fine. I'll leave anytime. No fuss, no questions asked, no arguments, no nothing. Because ultimately, I want to leave them with the positive vibes kind of experience, but also I just don't want people hating on us who fly quads for no reason, you know? Why build up negative energy around stuff? It's like I'm trying to do my thing, they're trying to do their thing. If we work something out that works for everyone, great, right? And if not, so it goes. There's other spots to fly. No big deal. Positive, man. Like, I'm totally not into getting all attitudey with people. It just doesn't benefit you if you think about it that way. From a selfish perspective, it just doesn't benefit you. It doesn't benefit the guy because you're hassling him. It doesn't benefit you because the more annoyed people get with you, the less likely they are to let you continue flying. Obviously, it's like, what's the point of arguing, you know? Ain't no point. Another thing I should mention is that, well, I feel like mentioning it because maybe I feel like it's mention worthy. But yeah, another thing to mention is that when I'm flying these spots, I'm never going balls out. I'm never really flying to the absolute maximum of my like capabilities in terms of acro or this or that. When I want to do that stuff, I go to certain spots and practice it. I don't practice it in bando spots or things like that. I tend to stay within a safe envelope, and what I'll do, ever so slowly, I'll work up and I'll try something out. But every time I push the envelope or something, I do it knowing that I can get out of it. Like, you know, I'm not gonna like power loop under the thing if I don't know that I can make it and stuff like that, or all that stuff. I don't really try stuff without a very high level of confidence that I'm gonna pull it off and get away with it. A couple reasons for that. Like I said, one reason is the whole flow. You want to relax, finish the packs, clean packs, all that kind of stuff. Two, that's just how I prefer to fly. I like to surf buildings. I'm not out to bludgeon them to death with crazy acro moves. There's a third reason, I forget what it is though. Who cares? But that is how I approach this stuff. So I'm not trying to come out here and show you my craziest tricks and all that kind of stuff. That's not the purpose at all. The purpose is just to have fun. Largely for me and for the viewers too. Fun. I just want to enjoy the spot visually and whatever, you know. Yeah, I like to fly and do some crazy stuff, but I always stay within like a safe envelope of that. Yeah, the third reason is, of course, like variables. So what if something pops up or something surprising happens or you lose your quad? I don't like going into that territory where I'm possibly gonna explode in an unpredictable way and like lose the quad or like attract attention or have to do some crazy retrieval mission and stuff like that. You know, I do this, I build up, man. I build up. So yeah, maybe if I'm trying something for the first time, there's a little risk, but it's calculated because it probably means that I've got away with something similar several times before that. So I don't just Hail Mary. I just don't think that's the right approach. And ultimately it's about fun. Like, I'm not trying to say don't have fun in the spots. What I am saying is, in my opinion, more packs equals more fun. The more packs you get through a spot and the less you hack your quads up, the more flying time you get. And that's the whole point, isn't it? Being in the air, FPV, you know, you want maximum packs, maximum flight time, you want maximum fun. To me, that's what maximum fun is. It's maximum time in the air just doing stuff. So another thing I do when I'm flying, or at least when I'm flying well, is I'm usually thinking ahead. They teach you this in like autocross. I used to do autocross in cars and all that kind of stuff. Basically what they tell you is to think ahead, right? Like, don't worry about the corner you're in, think about the corner beyond that and set you up for the next corner and the next corner and the next corner. So thinking ahead is a concept that helps a lot in a very complex situation like this. You don't just want to fly into an obstacle. You want to know where that obstacle is, but know where your exit is afterwards, right? So like, think of it as three things: your entry point, your apex point, which is like your obstacle or your whatever, and your exit point. It's something from the car world, but I find it translates pretty good to the quad world as well. Basically, you want to be thinking about how you're passing through stuff and where you're ending up afterwards. Because when you just fixate on the object that you're flying at all the time, that is when you forget about, well, what do I do next? And you maybe end up heading the wrong way and going and having to like bail. Now, yeah, that's a bit of that's inevitable, but I do think you should try and minimize that. I'd like to think of it as thinking ahead. It's racing line theory, very simple, like nothing rocket science, but that's kind of how I navigate spots like this, and that's kind of how I put my quote-unquote lines together and stuff in any given spot. I just link things together. A big part of that is knowing how I'm going to get out of stuff. So even if I end up in a hairy situation, I like to know, okay, even though I might be looking down at something weird, I'm like, okay, I go that way, that way, that way. After I go that way, that will lead me to this and that. I like to build that stuff up in my head, which again takes time, but it's fun, man. Like, in a lot of the same way that finding the perfect line is how you get faster in racing, it's like finding the perfect line around complex spots is just fun. It takes effort to get it right, and in a freestyle environment there's no right line. That's the beauty of it. You get to pick your own, create your own lines, you know, and I enjoy doing that. It's part of the process. My last little ranty piece of advice for the day is gonna be slow. You know, a lot of people might not realize it, but you can have a ton of fun flying through bandos, going super really slow, just cruising, just even in a straight line where you're not doing anything, and just cruising nice and slow, because you can see everything. You know, it's like relaxing and all that. Not everything needs to be crazy acro. You can fly spots super slow, slower than you think. You don't even need to do tricks, man. And that would be my last thing. Don't be afraid to go slow. Slow it down. Enjoy the ride. There's no rush. Have fun. The other benefit of going slow is that if you're like one of these video type of dudes who likes making videos, it gives you a bunch of free and easy B-roll to work with if you want to chop stuff together. So there's that too. But really, it can just be super fun. You don't need to do crazy stuff all the time. So let's see if I can slow this down a bit. Other fun fact is actually FPV videos are easier to watch. They're easier on the eye when they're slow because it's easier for the viewers to like follow what's happening. Yeah, maybe sometimes you want to dazzle people with a whole bunch of stuff, but it's one thing for you when you're flying to get a sense of orientation and not be nauseous and stuff. It's another thing for the viewers. I find that people like the slow stuff because they can kind of get into it a little easier or whatever. Now, there's no rule that says you have to go slow all the time. There's no rules anyways. But another thing, after going slow, if you're comfortable going slow, there's no problem mixing up the tempo as well. Go slow for a while, maybe speed up the pace, then take a breather, go slow again, and then back and forth. So you can do like a whole tempo thing too, or you could keep the whole video fast, the whole video slow, or you can alternate it as well. It's like so many options. It depends what feels good, right? Behind the goggles and stuff, I guess, or what you like, personal preference, all that shit. Anyways, I can hear myself in my butt, so that's weird. So like that's what I'm all about. Nice clean flight. Pushed it a little bit, but I built on what I've learned from the previous flights. That right there is what I'm after. Clean, fun, great balance, no harm done. That's what I'm after, man. That's what it's all about to me. Love it.